morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. It's a Thursday morning, so that's it. Daffy's back in duty. Coffee is here, and Travis is here. What's happening?
Hey, good morning. I'm so happy to be back here again to talk Liverpool with all y'all. I know it's a little early here on the West Coast, but I'm up, I'm at 'em, I am ready to roll.
It is early over there. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock, right? Yes.
7
Yikes.
a.m. Yep.
No, Audrey today. Unfortunately, she's not feeling well. We were talking, and my medical advice did not apparently help because I was like, drink some Colombian coffee. That should get you knocked out, but it didn't work. She had a fever and everything yesterday, and apparently it only got worse this morning. So,
Mm.
so no Audrey this morning, but there's a lot to talk about. So we'll get right to it, and I do want to go back to something that we talked about on Rival Bros with my brother and kind of like get your take on it. And if you have not
Absolutely.
seen that yet, that's comedy gold, especially my brother. It's definitely comedy gold. But so let's start with I guess the biggest news right now, if you go to social media, is the Champions League squad being announced and no Chiesa being there.
Yeah.
Tony, Adam, Ozan, everybody in the chat already. Good morning, and Kevin, despite what he said in the beginning, is in the chat. So welcome aboard. Hit that thumbs up the moment you walk in, and then hopefully we'll get others joining us as we go over here. But I mean, obviously the reasons behind it, we know the homegrown number and stuff. So I'm not as shocked about that part of it. Somebody had to be sacrificed, and I guess it makes sense. But what do you think it does for him in the long run? Because we kind of were hoping he would get some of the games that are maybe like rubber games, like games that didn't have a lot of meaning. I'm personally expecting a lot more rotation on Champions League this year after what happened last year. Now, we're not going to go out there to win all the time, but be able to rotate and think of the weekend as well and stuff. But I was hoping he would get a lot of chances. What does it do for how many opportunities he will get?
Well, we're talking about someone who's way down the list in our list of strikers. I mean, if we look back at our old Champions League rosters, he would have been in the spot that would have been taken up by players like Benny Woodman and the like. These are the people that last who may not get a chance to see it. A lot of people are trying to push this debate that it's Chiesa versus Rio, Chiesa versus Rio. Now, I will say, and I think Chiesa he's great. He did an excellent job starting in the season. He's not as good a striker as the other strikers we have on our team. He's nowhere close to an Isak or an Ekitike. We have to be absolutely clear about that. Towards the end of the season last year, if you told people that Chiesa was being left off the squad, most people would go, okay, fair decision.
Yep.
But the biggest factor for me was Federico gets called up to play for the Italy squad. And he has a frank discussion with the coach there and basically says, I'm not fit. I'm not at the level to play properly for my team. So there's something there as well as where Chiesa knows where he's at skill wise. He knows where he is at fitness wise. I don't necessarily think it's an injury or the like, but I think he understands that he's doing well, but he's not at the level he needs to be. So knowing that discussion that happened, you've got a choice between him and Rio and Gamola, and Rio brings something special and different. And we like to have that in the Champions League squad. And we've got the strikers we're going to have to swap out as we adjust our system throughout this entire year and Champions League season and EPL season and everything else. I mean, we're spoiled for choice when it comes to strikers. And so the fact that there's this intense debate over Chiesa and Rio to see who would best fill that spot, who are both, they're very talented strikers, they're not going to get enough time to have a huge... No, sorry, let me say that. They probably won't get enough time, or Rio probably won't get enough time to have a huge impact on the Champions League campaign. Maybe he will, and I hope that he does. For me personally, I think Rio edges it out solely because of Chiesa's injury concerns, his own kind of self-substitute out.
Why can't this guy get in shape, I guess, is my question. I mean, we heard this time last year, right? And I always joked around that, like I will be in shape by freaking like January, February if they gave me the slots in like September. So when we didn't see him last year, it was always fitness. And I know he had the injury in the preseason. I get that. But I mean, there are other players who had injuries in the preseason, and they're up and running, if you will.
22 injuries he's had over the last 4 years. I mean, that's wild. And an injury,
Has Gomez like numbers there?
Yeah, exactly. These are and they're all injuries where he's missed a game, and he tore his cruciate ligament. He had a bunch of other muscular problems and other ones where he just couldn't perform. Where they do muscular fatigue is the word they use, where he just can't play at that level, and it's possible he's feeling that now. It's risky, and I think his attitude, his personality, everything else he kind of brings on the pitch is fantastic. But at the end of the day, if you're using hard cold facts about fitness and ability, then you have to go with Rio over Chiesa, simply because you've got a greater chance of Rio seeing more minutes, seeing more game time.
I took it as like a position wise too. I think you can throw Rio. I mean, fitness is a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you have a game against a team where you want to rotate, you want to rest Gak before the weekend or something like that, and you can have Rio start. If you can't get even 45 minutes out of Chiesa, well, you can't start him. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta at least to give you 45 to 60 to be able to start. I think you can get that probably from Rio fitness wise, and you can't get it from Chiesa. So it does make sense. I think Serzi was asking, if he's on Gehi, I'm assuming Leone is the one that would miss out, because he would just replace the center back and Gehi would count. But Kevin is out there celebrating. I want to see Gehi's reaction. I don't know if I see a lot of stuff online like that he's angry. I'm sure he's angry. I would be angry as well, getting stuck playing for Kevin's Crystal Palace. But I wonder if he is, how he will handle it is more important. Because having seen how being professional paid off, I don't know how he goes about doing this. So, but okay, that brings us, because I'm glad you mentioned the gay thing. So let's talk about this over here. So I'm gonna play this from yesterday's Rival Bros, and if you have not seen it, it's worth watching just for this, along with like a couple of other
worth watching every week.
What, watching every week?
Worth watching every week, Rival Bros. It's a great show.
It's gold, comedy gold. So speaking of comedy gold, this is definitely especially when Edip goes off the handle over here. But I want to get your take, and I want to get the chat's take on it too, because there's a lot of old timers over here, and we remember like the older transfer windows. And I think this is why this is kind of like an old man rants more than anything else over here. But I'm gonna throw this
gay thing. I have to talk a bit about. I'm so happy that he didn't come to Liverpool, because I was telling you before the program.
Here we go. The old man rants. Go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
I kind of like touched up on it because we talked about it, I think, over the weekend. Yeah. And I touched up on it this morning's show. But go ahead, do your old man thing.
Well, okay. Well, I am an old man, and this is bullshit. First of all, this transfer window thing is bullshit. It's just a media thing in the last minute, people signing things in the last minute. Bullshit. So this has been going on for 10 years, and this is getting even worse and worse, and funnier. It is ridiculous. At the last minute, people are. For God's sake, you had months to actually prepare for this. Poor Crystal Palace not finding anyone in time. Oh, come on! I mean, it's actually, they are doing a reality show, and people are just falling for it. It is bullshit.
Why do you think they are doing it? Is it just basically? Is it like? Ultimately ends up being a business, like it's like a stock market. They don't want to spend an extra 500,000. We'll wait. They'll drop the price.
Yeah, it's just a reality show. It's people watching people signing things.
Okay, he goes on and on. He was pretty loaded about this one because we talked about it over the weekend. He's like, "Man, this is getting ridiculous" and stuff like that. What do you say about that? I mean, we talked about it like as the show goes on. It is on our YouTube channel if you want to go and watch the rest. But it is in some ways, yeah, it has, yeah. So I see like some people agreeing to it. Good morning, Lee. But what do you make of it? Because it has gotten a lot worse. Why do the big boys especially wait till the last minute?
All right, well, first off, I think I don't know what they're putting in the tea in Manchester. But your brother, man, I mean, I get it. He has a reason to be angry and upset and sad and depressed. All of that. I get it. I'll grant him that. But that's as far as I'll grant it. Okay. Yes, it's theater, and it is a athlete signing a contract. But these decisions are hugely important. They don't just mean, oh, someone's going to go and play a game. It changes the whole culture and image of a team. Look at like the Isak sale. Are you going to tell me the Isak sale was not that big a deal? I mean, the largest. I mean,
No, I
yes,
think
largest
his
transfer.
point is being in the last minute. Like this whole transfer deadline thing was more than. I mean, yes, you know, obviously you're going to sign people, and people are going to move around, and people always have. But there was not this need to wait till the last second to get deals done. Is it just a matter of, like I was saying on there, like saving a few bucks? Or like, why do teams wait? Because it feels like they're waiting for the last minute by design. Partially, I mean, like with the Gay ordeal, for example, I really think the agreement was for Gay to be involved in the initial beginning of the season in the European qualifier and help them qualify in the first place and stuff. But regardless, I mean, look at the Isak ordeal. Like they're going around trying to find another striker and stuff. Why are these things becoming? Because it didn't used to be. Deadline day was not as, it was always a thing, but not this obnoxious. It doesn't feel like.
No, this situation, well, we had a very special and unique deadline day. You're absolutely right. There's usually one or two deals that we already know are going to happen that kind of get finalized. This was an absolute cluster. What a mess by Crystal Palace. And Glasner, I think he figuratively put his head in the sand, his hands over his ears, and thought, no, okay, he's not going. There's not going to happen. I think in his mind, he's like, we're not going to accept less than 35 million or 40 million, and Liverpool won't pay it. Okay, he's not going anywhere. He watches. I mean, you saw they had their little dust up a couple games ago, where Gahey was clearly upset, and Glasner was like, nope, Gahey's the future. And Glasner, I mean, you fell in love with somebody who doesn't love you back. I'm sorry, guy. It's like, I don't want to.
Do you blame Glasner? Like, if you have, you have your business, your best salesman, let's say, is leaving. Yeah, you want to keep him as long as possible. So because your job depends on his job.
I'm sorry, Glasner went. I don't mean to be obscene, but Glasner went to a strip club and fell in love with a dancer. I'm sorry, he does not love you back, Glasner.
But they really care about the customer,
Let him do his own thing.
I hear the staff over there really cares about the customer.
I can't believe I'm talking about strip clubs in Portland again. Oh my gosh. I thought we were done. I thought that was just delusional from the 24-hour podathon, but here we go. But let's get back to the real thing. So yes, with this Gahey thing, I don't know if they ever believed he was going to leave, and Gahey made it abundantly clear he wanted out. And then all of a sudden, Glasner throws this fit with a week left and starts to really panic and say, okay, if Gahey goes, we're in real trouble. He's not wrong. And I will grant Glasner that piece of credit. Yes, I'll give you that, is that he was fighting for the Crystal Palace side. He was fighting for somebody who's going to have a huge impact on his team. And that is big news for the end of the day as well, too. If Gahey did leave, Palace is left with a giant hole at the back. And I totally, I'm going to get some auto-tune for all my my future podcasts. He's never coming to Liverpool. I can't do it. It sounds awful.
I mean, Glasner thing, the funny thing is Glasner's probably going to leave before Gahey leaves now, and that's going to be the bigger comedy over there. So, but I mean, we see that it's almost like a college football kind of an ordeal that when that happens. But here's the thing. This is not the first time. Like, Remember when the fax machine didn't work for De Gea's move and so, I mean, every
Oh
freaking transfer
yeah.
window, something stupid like this happens. Well, maybe you should not wait until the last 10 seconds to
No.
like send the fax and stuff. Like,
No.
why? I mean, I know what Cersei is saying. It is probably about maximizing pay, but you would think teams would. I feel like it screws over the smaller teams usually a lot
Oh
more.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So like if like the whole gay thing, for example, is it well, it's kind of part of it, I guess, because they were trying to find someone to replace him. But Edip's point is, and I do agree with him in this sense, if this was an agreement behind the scenes, or it was at least definitely talked about, they didn't like, Liverpool did not show up like with like an hour to go and say, oh, we're taking gay. Well, they had time to get the dude from Brighton, see if he actually wants to come there or go to West
Julio
Ham,
Igor,
get the medical done and stuff. They had time. Why do teams, is there that much really worth in bottom line gain that they're waiting till the last second, I guess is the question.
Absolutely. I mean, they were pushing for money is the number one thing. They got their 35 million. That's what they were. They wanted 40. They valued Gahey at 40. Liverpool basically capped. I was surprised that they paid 35 for Gahey, but they needed him. So it was a push for that cash. And there was plans that got into place, getting Igor into place, getting all of these kind of dominoes of all. But here's the thing is that if you're going to set up a $35 million deal, you better have backups in place. You better have you better be ready if something goes wrong. I mean, this is not, I'm not going to the chip shop and getting in and asking, oh, can I get 2 extra curries on the side? No, I'm putting $35 million and 10% down to bring a center back over that will change the scope of the game. You need to do a better job of managing your business, especially, as good as Gahey looked and as professional as he looked in the last couple days, and after he did his medical, everything, it was all done. And then he made his video to say farewell. The deal sheet was done to push it out. I mean, it was literally pushed to the last minute. But then, I think Glasner, here's the key thing. Glasner, he clearly doesn't have enough faith in the rest of his side to where he puts his own, where he says, I will quit if Gahey goes. So where does that leave the rest of the Crystal Palace side? To say,
I get that, but think about it this way. If they said Van Dijk, wouldn't Slot throw a fit as he should?
Yeah.
So I mean, like when there's somebody, I think he's ultimately their Van Dijk. He's not only like a center back there. One, he's the captain, and two, he runs the back line. Like the manager of the back line, if you will, is very important because not only you're just losing a player. If you're losing the center back across from Gahey, I don't think it would be as big of a deal for Crystal Palace as it would be like the guy who's actually captaining the back line, along with captaining the team, but the back line itself. So I understand why Glasner would be hesitant. I just find it odd that they only had one plan B, or they didn't have plan B. They had like one plan A kind of a deal. So, ridiculous. But like I say, the Gahey ordeal is just like one of these. You look at the last day, like these guys had like 2 months, nothing happened all July, all like freaking like all August and stuff. And suddenly within the last 2 days, everybody like started moving around. So they did find he was more of a future. I don't know about the Campbell part. But
JD Campbell. Oh yeah, JD Campbell.
I can't remember his name, but he was more for, he was basically a Leone. Let's put it that way. He wasn't there to fill in for Gahey. He was more like a future project kind of a kid. I think he's like only 18 or 19 or something like that. Convo. So he had nothing to do with the Gahey ordeal. It was all about Igor.
No, they pull in JD Convo, who played for Clermontaine and Toulouse, I think. I think
he came from Toulouse, I think.
He's a quasi talent. They put him up front, they put him in back. They're trying to find a spot for this kid. He'll be fine. But so I'll ask one question though about this, Timucin. So are you saying that Chris Richards should not be the leading center back at Crystal Palace? And why do you hate America?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the real question.
Exactly. And I think,
Come
that's the
on now.
problem, though. Like, it's something that's, Palace, you would think, would figure out over the last, I don't know,
Yeah,
2 to 3 weeks. So what are we going to do? So we're selling Gay because we got to get something for him. We don't want him leaving on a free. So what do we do? I just feel weird that it just feels odd. Like I say, it stayed to the last minute where Glaston is in the corner jumping up and down saying like, if he goes, I go and stuff. But I guess the bigger point of like the conversation we had with Edip is this happens every transfer window. Like this, we're a lot more invested in this scenario now because usually Liverpool takes care of business early and we don't really go into these last seconds ordeals. We might do like an opportunity buy. We've done like opportunity buys in the past, like in the last day, the day before and stuff. Hey, nobody's going for this guy. How about 12 million kind of a deal? But it's like every season now, this is really happening where they do wait till the last moments. And they did not wait as much in the future. Barrett is in the house. Disappointed. Yeah, I think that's the part that hurts the most, I think. Travis, is the fact that a guy who really went about it as well as you can expect your player to. I would assume, I mean, Kevin is here, he can tell us, but I can only assume as a Palace fan, he could not have conducted himself more professionally and loyal to Palace. He did not even go to the fans, do the farewell thing because it wasn't official. He didn't want to disrespect and, like stuff. Good thing he didn't, I guess, now because he's going to have to be like, I'm back. But I think that's what hurts more than seeing like Visa and Isak and those guys get their way. And a guy who goes about the business right does not.
All right. Well, I have this. Okay. So, transfer window deadline day drama. I think I've said already it's important because it's vital. This is the soap opera stuff I can't stand. Isak, for a long time, said he doesn't want to play. And he said there were promises that were broken. We don't know for sure what those were. And yes, Visa did it. Anthony. And Newcastle, you can't complain. Come on, Wisa did it, and Anthony Gordon did the exact same thing to Everton on his move to Newcastle.
Yes.
Players do it. They go where they want to go. And you can go back and forth when they say, oh, well, maybe they should honor their contract. But if they're really that unhappy, we got to remember that a lot of these, they're kids too. A lot of them are players in their early 20s. And they don't necessarily know how to conduct they're thrust into this giant spotlight, and how do you expect them? Me in my early 20s, if you offered me $30 million to go play for Manchester United and I turned it down, you'd be really upset at me.
Yes,
but you understand,
because that wouldn't be like ultimately that's not really professional. Like as a professional, you got to look at it differently. But these guys, I realize they're kids, but they gave the same excuse to like Trent. When you're making these decisions, you're not a kid anymore. And I think, obviously these guys mature a lot faster than we did. So that's a little story. But, I just think I understand what you're saying. They're like difficult decisions and, like they're kids making these decisions and stuff like that. But what it does at the end of the day, if you're a player, the day after the transfer window, your thought is, okay, so if I want to go out, screw the club, I'm going to do my thing. Because this is what thinking of the club gets you. This is what thinking of yourself gets you. When you think of yourself, you get your way. If you think of the club and act professional, you kind of get screwed in the mix. I think that's why we will see next season in the transfer window, or heck, even in January. I guess the next transfer window is a bit better because then the contracts will end and stuff. But we will see more Isaks and Visas than we will see Gahis in terms of how they conduct themselves.
Well, I would argue this. I mean, I don't think, and I get Isak could have conducted himself more professionally. Gahi could have been more unprofessional. Either way. But that wasn't the factor of why these things happened. That's the key piece, is that Isak I think Isak was going to go regardless. I mean, he wanted out. And even if he conducted himself professionally, he's still going to fight hard to get out. And Gahi was gone. Gahi did everything right and should have gone. It was 100%, had nothing to do with his professionalism, which I appreciate. It had to do with this one weird series of factors: Igor getting hurt, Riyadh getting hurt to Crystal Palace, or Riyadh being out on injury, then being short of center backs, Glasner throwing a hissy fit, or fighting for his
Yeah,
team.
but here's the thing. If Gehi starts beginning of August and says, I'm not playing, I want to go. He's not in this ball right now. He could have said in the beginning, you know what? You guys go to the conference league. You qualify yourselves. I'm not playing. I want to move. I want it now. Jump up and down, throw a tantrum like Isak and Visa did.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Maybe if Gehi does that, Crystal Palace gets their act together and comes up with a plan B situation.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, basically, throwing the temper tantrum pays off better than.
But maybe it's not a temper tantrum. Maybe it's a strategic emotional conflict. It's better for your side. Oh my gosh, I need a coffee. Hold on. So I'm gonna get my coffee. So I got up early, so I didn't have time to make coffee.
Yeah, without coffee, this show is nothing.
No, I know, and so I have to do canned coffee.
Oh, I can't do that stuff. It has to be hot. Is it just me?
No, it's the canned coffee is good. This is good. This is good stuff. Let me just.
Dude, no. I
gotta have the canned coffee.
What the hell is going on? That's what that is.
You gotta get started these mornings, man. You gotta get sometimes you just have to go with the canned coffee. And
I was going to say, I thought you were drinking iced coffee in the morning. I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that shit.
That's good coffee,
like
man.
7:30 in the morning over there. What the hell? Mr. Barres says I'm a Newcastle fan. Telling me that Elliott, Kwanzaa, and Keller. Actually, that's a pretty darn good deal.
Yeah,
that's probably worth more than. Yeah, that's actually interesting because ultimately, what do we sell those guys for? 60, 100s. I think it would probably be more useful, easier transition kind of a deal. Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, where's Steven? Steven's not here this morning yet.
Well, they've got Ramsdale and Pope, solid keepers on that side.
I wonder if they consider Pope as solid as they used to be honest with you.
I might be looking through, the past a little bit. I mean, he's still, because he's 33.
Pope is 33?
33 years old, man.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that old. I know Ramsdale has to be up there too.
Ramsdale's 27. And and Kelleher maybe would have been a good keeper, but no, Kelleher was always going to go. He's got to have number one. He's got to have first team football. That's what he's looking for. Same with Harvey Elliott.
Kevin, you say that, but I mean, it's the truth. It's not really clickbait. I mean, his tantrums could be end up being clickbait. I know, like when I see it now, like he's like Gay is not happy and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's exactly what happened. I don't know. I just feel bad for a player who everybody was kind of admiring in terms of how he carried himself. And all these other players that, we were saying that, you know what, you shouldn't have signed a contract and play your contract. You're under contract. Be a professional, blah, blah, blah. All those guys got their moves and went to the clubs they wanted to go to. Whereas this guy ended up being stuck because he was going about it the right way. If I'm a player and if I'm going to be in a similar scenario next season, I'm not doing the Gehi book of transfer guides. I'm reading the one written by Isak and Visa because they got their moves, and that's why I feel like I would probably go with that. Prove what, Kevin? The fact that are you telling me the guy who did the medical and put on the jersey, they did the media shoots pretty much? You think he's happy to be taking that off and going back? I know you're a Palace fan, but you got to be realistic that he can't be too happy about this because he was already gone. And this was a move that obviously he wanted because there were other buyers for them, I'm sure. If Palace shopped them around, I would think so. I mean, for a good center back, other would be. And I don't know, what do you think about the Gay ordeal? I guess let's move on from that. But Adam says we get him in January. I know Kevin was saying earlier, and I do agree to that. It really depends on how the season goes for Palace and for us. Like you see Leone coming in the League Cup and stuff, have a couple of good games and make a couple of appearances. You might say, yeah, we'll just wait till summer. But if you're really desperate, you might go for it. What do you think happens with Gehi?
Well, my opinion. I don't want Gehi on our side. I don't want him
Oh,
on our
that's right.
side
You were like
because I don't
against
agree.
being
I don't
first place.
agree. I think he's got some extremely bigoted beliefs that are not appropriate for our side. But again, we talked about Ali will set him straight with pure love and so on. Yeah, I mean, he's clear. How could you not be angry and upset? I don't think it's media speculation at all. He filmed a video saying goodbye to the fans. He did his medical. He had a $35 million offer on the table. He's ready to go out the door. He said his goodbyes. And I mean, with literally in the last hour, like he's told, no, you're staying. That's difficult. That is difficult for anybody, any player in any job, anything you're doing in life. That's a difficult transition to make. How could he not be angry? Especially, and I know this is going to sound biased, Liverpool is the best team in the world right now. Or if you could say the hottest team in the world right now, the team with the most optimism in the future, especially with Isak in right now.
Yeah.
Across the board, if you are talking about who's going to win the Champions League, who's going to win the Premier League, who could win any cup, Liverpool is in that discussion. Whether you think they're going to win or not, they're in that discussion. And to be told that you're not going to be part of that squad that's going to be celebrating, potentially lifting trophies, are you telling me that Crystal Palace is going to win the Premier League? Absolutely not. Absolutely. I think they'll do fine. I think they'll finish 12th because that's what they do. Or I think I said they'll finish 11th in my preview.
I think you said 11th for them.
I think it's an 11th, one even better. So there you go, Crystal Palace fans, my gift to you. But how do you not be angry at how all this is handled? It's not about, Glasner fought for him and saw how important he was. It's that Glasner saw how important Crystal Palace was, and as the team was, and his own job was. Gahey was ready to move. They pulled the rug out from him last minute. And I'm curious. I think he will pull it together. He loves his team. His squad is phenomenal. I mean, I will give that. I mean, Arteta's oh gosh. Now I'm drawing a blank as to who had the reaction after the goal. When he scored, or Mateta. Mateta's reaction to Gahey's goal and their celebration together, and even talking after the game. I mean, he's got a good relationship with the rest of his players, and so I think he'll play strong, and of course he's going to move. Now he's got time. Now he's got time to plan the move. Crystal Palace has time to plan the move. The interesting thing is he going to, respectfully send a signed letter asking for his departure? Or is he going to throw a temper tantrum? Now, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I think because he's the captain and you kind of have seen how he carries himself, I don't see him throwing a temper tantrum or anything like that. So, like, behind the scenes, I'm sure he's upset because, like you said, like you had your mind made up, you're all dressed up, ready to go, and the last second, everything gets canceled. So there's like, you're like gonna do this, gonna play in the Champions League, gonna do this, gonna chase trophies. Liverpool, probably like the part of the future of Liverpool with this young team that's coming along and stuff like that. I saw more of the successor to Van Dijk that really we don't have in the squad right now, right? So I'm sure from that to doing 12th and being the Conference League and stuff, like when you get your hopes up, I think like if none of this happened, he would just like done his whole thing and he'd be happy with it, having gotten like helped Crystal Palace win the trophy and everything. I'm sure it's a downer, so I'm sure he's kind of like peeved, if you will. But I think at the end of the day, he will carry himself. I think that's his personality. He's just going to carry himself professional and he's going to go out and there play. But I mean, his relationship with his manager, I don't think there'll be a problem with his teammates because I'm sure they didn't want him to go, but they understood why he would want to go. It's one of those things where like, man, I wish you didn't go, but I'm really happy for you kind of a thing, I would think, for his players. So I don't think the players will never be an issue. How he will get along with the manager will be interesting because I don't know how I would get along with the manager. I don't know if Gay's a better guy than I am, but I hold grudges pretty bad. So I don't know if he would as well and kind of like treats everything accordingly. I'm not going to be listening to Glasner's meetings, at least for a couple of weeks. If I'm Gay, eventually I might go in there, but I'm going to be like, screw you, like occasionally in the background. Yeah. Like I say, I don't see him throwing a temper tantrum. He doesn't come across that kind of guy. He seems a lot more mature than I am. So, which is a good sign for him, but
no, I totally agree.
I have to ask this because this was kind of asked to me yesterday. Marcos. See, by the way, I have Greek friends. For all those people saying I hate on Kostas because he's Greek, I have Greek friends. So Marcos was
Dare
asking me this
you?
yesterday. He's not in the audience today because he has a job interview. So hopefully that's going well for him. He's like, oh damn, I'm gonna miss it because I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring this up in tomorrow's podcast. It's like kind of like a good topic to discuss, and I'm sure it'll be pretty controversial over here, but it is what it is. So good luck to Marcos in his interview. His last name, I was trying to pronounce it right, is Coriolis is his last name. So I have Greek friends. So there you go. By the way, I did miss it. Jamie, welcome to the show, sir. Welcome aboard. And Liverpool Goals TV is here. What's going on? So the question he asked me, and I'll pass it on to you over here, is Klopp and Slot. When will I think Klopp, in terms of creating this monster, will always get credit, and he'll be, one of those, like main figures, right, in the history. When you go back, I think he's probably like the third manager now you would come up with, just because of what he took it from and where he brought it to, where Slot took over, right? When do you think, or what would Slot have to do / win for you to say he's a more successful manager?
Ooh, that's a good question. And I love it because then it makes
I'm
me
not
think
saying
about more trophies.
like necessarily going to be like those people are still going to be legends, but when would you put him in terms of being more successful?
I mean, why don't we say 9 trophies?
9
You
trophies?
know? Did we?
Oh, you're saying like matched number of trophies, but you wouldn't say, okay, let's say. That's why I was like wondering, like, does he have to win a Champions League, or if he won the league like 2 or 3 times, would you say he's more? Because this is like the analogy that everybody's going with. So I agree with Adam, right? Like Klopp.
I love that.
Klopp is like the Paisley of that.
I wish I had said that.
I get that, but when would we like give the credit to Slot and say he's done it?
Let's give Slot. He needs to sustain it. He needs to. I mean, if you want a 10-second answer, 9, done. Because Klopp won everything. Klopp won everything with us. I mean, rock and roll football, heavy metal, mentality monster.
3 Premier League titles back to back to back.
3, yes, exactly. So
no, I'm asking you. 3 Premier League titles back to back to back. 3 trophies. Better than 9.
I would love that. I would love that.
Ooh, I would love that too. I'm just saying, does that trump 9?
Absolutely. I would, yes, because if you're talking 9 trophies, then you're probably coupling in Carabao Cup and EFL Cup and Club World Cup. Because if I'm talking about the 8 that Klopp won, I have to incorporate Community Shield and Club World Cup and whatever. And those are, it's a dinner plate and a tumbler. But no, 3, and I would take 3 league titles in a row any day over that collection, or 2 year. Yeah, man, Adam, I swear, I think Adam might be my familiar. He might be channeling something I'm thinking.
He's probably having the same coffee you're having.
It is. Cheers. But I want to see sustained success. That's the big difference. And with Klopp, is we saw it year after year after year. We go back to the years before Klopp and just what that side was. And I will not be on the bandwagon of people that disparages some of our weaker players. I won't do it. I still think Dejan Lovren is one of my favorite players of all time. And but Slot has...
Lovren is almost as bad as Gahey when it comes to stuff like that, by the way, right?
Lovren's a unique character. Lovren,
I'm just saying, like,
we could talk about Lovren and his crazy agent and the Titanic theme and his bromance.
I did not mind Lovren at all. He was basically the scapegoat in that back four. If something went wrong, it was always on Lovren. Or if Gomez was within the vicinity, it was always like him.
Exactly. So with Slot, we have not seen enough years for me to carve his name into the Mount Rushmore of Liverpool. Like, he's not there yet. If he can go another 2 to 3 years, I would say 2-3 years more, and win the titles, get another UCL. If he can win a major trophy the next 2 years, absolutely. Absolutely, because then he's doing it his own way, because he has already established his own style of football. This is not the same style as Klopp. This is a style that works really well for the players we have now. I mean, albeit Isak playing for Klopp would have been ridiculous. Would have been 12 goals a game, but maybe it would have been winning 12-10. Who knows? But Slots.
I go back to this. If Klopp is here, the Slot move would not happen. Because Klopp would not sell Diaz and Nunez.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I think
this is a totally different regime and style where you do kind of like rotate the team, whereas Klopp's thing was more about consistency, keeping the familiarity and stuff like that. So that's why, you know, we kind of hung on to some players, to be honest with you, past the expiration date sometimes. But that was his fuel for the team, the continuity, belief in each other, like the group mentality kind of a deal. I feel like Slot is more about, and he's done this in like Feyenoord and stuff too, in terms of like a lot of turnover and keeping things fresh and, you know, like kind of like changing things up all the time so that nobody can catch up to you kind of a deal. So I do really think like we would not sell Diaz and Nunez if Klopp was still in charge, for example.
Well, it's definitely created the perfect environment because you have Klopp's Ted Lasso-esque gathering, supporting the team, bringing everybody together, creating the sense of community. And now we've come to Slot, who exactly as you said, he's going to rotate people out, especially with Isak coming in, because you're going to have to rotate him with Ekitike and Salah and the other strikers we have. With the formations that we have set up, there's going to have to be rotation. But if everyone on the team feels like they are part of that, like they're all going to get time, they're all going to get support, it's going to be an incredible combination and breed complete success this season. I mean, it's why Harvey Elliott is gone and Simicast is gone, and it's because they knew they weren't going to get that time, and the club was honest with them, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that they were honest with these players and said, look, you're not going to get enough minutes and you need minutes, so let's get you to a club that'll give you time, you know. And they didn't try to hold on to Elliott and say, hey, you know, maybe that is one fault that Klopp had, and then if he has a fault, it's only one and it's small, is holding on to these players and just saying, please, please, please stay on, please be a super sub, you know. Because I mean, look at Wataru Endo, who is an incredible super sub. He comes onto a game, I think, and I'll have to double check the stats on this, but I want to say out of the last 13 or 14 games where he's come on as a sub, we won. Because
to be fair, he always comes in when we have the leads.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
That's a little skewed. You could throw me in there, and we would probably won 8 to 10 of those.
Oh, how dare you!
No. I'm not discrediting him.
Endo means end of the game.
Endo
means end of the game. That's it. Endo means end of the game, and that's it. The game's over as soon as he comes on. But no, you got a comment that brings up too. It says Gini, Fabinho, and Hendo. That was the same thing with the three midfields. Oof, we could talk Henderson, but that's a whole nother discussion. And that's the same thing. Henderson brought something different. He brought intelligence and captaincy and game management to games. Did he bring skill in his later years? Maybe not up to the same level as Gini and Fabinho, but you got something different out of each one. And yes, we kept a huge squad with Klopp size, but the proof is also in the pudding. Klopp also won Champions League. Klopp also won the league. I know it's blue sky thinking, but Slot has all the tools now. He has all the tools to win the league and the Champions League this year. I think we're a couple massive injuries away from having a conversation the other direction, but he's got all the tools right now. And I think if Slot, to get back to the original piece of Slot, can show consistent battling for those trophies and come away with trophies over the next 2 to 3 years, yeah, we're going to be carving his. He'll be.
You said 9 first, so we're kind of like not 9. You're okay with 3 to 4 big ones?
No. Over the next 2 to 3 years, if he can win, if this year we win the league, next year we win the Champions League, and the year after we win the league, or whatever combination of that, if he can show in the next 2 to 3 years winning a consistent high level trophy, and I'm not just talking about we get the Carabao Cup again. You know, which I'm not going to disparage the Carabao Cup. It is an incredible accomplishment. I love that we have Carabao and League Cup, that teams like, Yeah, look at because look at Grimsby Man United. You take a sad, tiny, poorly developed team like Manchester United and put them against Grimsby Town,
It's those
and
matchups
you
that
give
make it
those
happen.
a matchup.
I don't mind. I mean, like I say, I'm not like totally against it. The only reason I like it is it gives you a chance to rotate and stuff like that. But it's one of those that I think makes it even more difficult with the extra games and
Yeah.
stuff it puts in there. Adam says if all the players gel, sadly, that's kind of like a big if. I think at least, but that's why 9 points out of 9 is pretty darn good over there.
Hard not to gel.
There's no reason. And sign a few players here and there. Okay, like where's here,
Okay,
where's
Adam, you
there,
lost
and
me.
what the few players, I guess. I think the center back would have been, I think the Gay move, that's why it would have been the icing on the cake there. But no reason why we shouldn't win the league for another 3 seasons, at least 2 Champions Leagues. Man, that is ambitious. Because I just feel like, injuries and stuff like that will always happen. I don't know. That's what I mean. Like when he asked me, I was like, I mean, if you think, look, Klopp will always get a special kind of credit just because he created he started the fire, if you will, by like what he did, doubters to believers, that whole that thing. So you're taking over believers already. So Slot already had an upper leg in starting. So this is not to say he would be better or anything, like he's a better manager or anything like that in the long run. This is more about him like really getting the credit of like he's like like a more successful manager, like in terms of like winning and stuff like that. And let's face it, he's not going against like the city monster that had all the charges and stuff like that attached to it. Really, if you take those away, you are like club is winning a lot more titles, that's for sure. And that's the thing. No, I do agree. Like on paper, the talent is there, the squad is there, the depth is there. But that's why, on paper, like Chelsea thought they had stuff too, and Tottenham thinks they have stuff too. It's just a matter of, being able to put that on there. Dara is in the house. Good morning, sir.
But no, you're right.
Beat Arsenal Newcastle away and still not be clicking. And yeah, that's another thing. Actually, that's a good question. Let me ask you that. Wirtz, what do you make of what you see so far, and when do you start to get worried?
I'm not worried at all.
When do you start to get worried?
When do I start to get worried? We start losing matches.
Okay.
We start losing matches. There is so much. I've heard this. I don't know if people are trying to stir things up, and people are trying to say, oh, well, Florian Wirtz, he was a big signing. He was a lot of money. I totally get it. And just because he hasn't gotten 10 goals in 3 games, he has contributed. There were key moments, especially in the Arsenal match, where he made key contributions on the field, key stops, and key runs that had an impact on Arsenal. Arsenal could not handle Liverpool, and Arsenal was a very good side, and they've got an incredible talent. Gyökeres could not break through us, and it's because players like Wirtz gave our defenders time to form up and stop Arsenal from getting anywhere in the box. I think Wirtz is he's putting the work in. Now, I will say he is maybe not giving us something that we would get for the how much did we pay for Wirtz for
that was the first record.
Yes. So. Yeah, the first record playing about over 125 or whatever the huge fee was from Leverkusen.
It's not our money, as we say on the show. So go ahead.
So maybe he isn't in 3 games giving you $125 million in play, but he has done what he has been asked to do. And again, it comes down to this being spoiled for choice piece. We have Szoboszlai at right back, the greatest player in the history of Liverpool. and I already ordered my Zobo jersey. So hopefully it comes before next time.
I hope you don't pay by number for forgetting the name on the back.
I
pay by like letter. I mean,
I know. Look, I spelled it right too at the bottom. I was confident that I got it.
That. Go ahead.
Dominic ends with a K or a C. Shoot. Anyways, but with Wirtz, I think we're going to see more and more and more. I think the only disappointment will be if he consistently puts these performances in and we consistently get wins, it'll be great. And maybe there'll be some hemming and hawing over the fact that we paid so much for someone who's just putting in just a solid, good work rate. It's a ridiculous problem to complain about because I'm looking at the team as a whole. If we're net spending this amount of money and we get, 38 wins on the season, or, we win every match, I'm not going to hem and haw over who did what. If we start to see a decline, if we start to see things sliding, then we could have concerns. But here's the thing: every pundit is talking about players like Chesko, and they're talking about players like Jokeres, and they're talking about players like Paulina and so forth, that they're trying to find their feet and let's get in the games. But then they're coming to Wirtz and they're like, Wirtz was a waste of money. I'm like, come on. You're giving all these excuses for players and teams because they haven't that haven't won their first opening 3 games. And coming at Wirtz because I think they want something to talk about. This is the media drama that I don't buy into. Like, again, we're only 3 games in the season. We've got a long way to go. I've seen some real flashes of brilliance from Wirtz. I think he's still finding his feet. Same with Kirkes. Kirkes was to me a bigger concern as he tried to adjust to our system because in the first 2 games, his positioning was troublesome. It
was pretty horrific.
It was not great because he was trying to work out exactly how do I play with Van Dijk on the other side. Do I trust that Van Dijk is going to pick up everybody? Do I make the deep runs that I'm used to making? It's a very challenging system that he was looking at. Now he looked a lot better at Arsenal. I think he's still got a bit to go, but he looked a lot better at Arsenal. Now, with Isak coming in, though, we're going to maybe see Kirkes push up a lot more, and Gravenberg probably drop out. Again, we got a lot to do there, but I think
10 games, says Adam. That sounds about right to me, to kind of like gauge for all players. I mean, like just all players, not just Wirtz. I do agree to that. Cameron says he needs to be higher up around the box. The only issue with that is, I mean, not that I don't agree. I think you might see that more now when we play against. Here's the thing: like the first 3 fixtures have been really tough ones too. In some ways, yes, you do want him to kind of shine in these tougher fixtures, but there weren't easy fixtures to kind of get used to the flow of things overall. So I think as we get some different fixtures, like especially when we're at home against a low block and stuff like that, I think that's when we're going to start seeing more of the values. 5 goals and 5 assists. Yeah, exactly. I think the funny thing is with Isak coming in, maybe the pressure on Wirtz will be less because now he's not the most expensive guy there. I'm sure there's the main concern, I think. And look, everybody, I don't blame the media or other teams of other fans to look at it and kind of, I mean, how much did we talk shit? Let's face it. Let's go back when Haaland and Nunez came in, right? How much shit did we talk in that first Charity Shield, Community Shield, whatever the hell game was, right? And then we found out, and then it went quack, 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 and then Nunez was the bum, not bum, but he was definitely not the better player in terms of efficiency after Haaland. But when somebody comes in with ridiculous money, and at the time he was still the highest, it's natural for everybody to look and say, well, is he worth the price? More importantly, I think, is like, how is he responding to the pressure of the price is the biggest thing. So this might help him because there's a more expensive guy now. You're not the most expensive. But I think regardless, he's very, very young as well for a player, especially playing his position. So you got to give him some time. I think what Adam is saying is fair. Like 10 days is probably right.
Well, he played his best football in the Champions League. Wirtz for Leverkusen last year.
Yes.
So as far as his goals and assists per minute, he played much better in UCL than he did in the regular league. And I think we'll see that. I can't wait. Gosh, I cannot wait for our first. And I can't wait for our first Champions League match. I know we have 5 minutes. Yes, Atletico at Anfield. I know we have 5 minutes, but oh my gosh, our UCL group. How could you not be excited to play Madrid, the return of Trent, to have?
Are you excited about that? Because I'm definitely not. I could have done with another year of not seeing Trent. Or
he's not going to play.
About Trent, even better.
He's not going to play. He maybe gets subbed on, maybe towards the end. He is struggling. He's exactly as, I thought it was going to happen. I thought he was already on the decline. He should have maybe shifted to be a more defensive midfielder. But we've got Frankfurt Ekitike going there. Galatasaray is always fun to talk about. It's always going to be an interesting match.
Are they? Because I can't stand them. So go.
Oh, well, that's the whole thing is, they're
Yeah.
super irritating, and their owner is super irritating. And was it Kevin mentioned complaints about Gundogan? And Gundogan, who's at Galatasaray, he's going to get stomped. They're going to get destroyed.
Yeah, they got Gundogan. Honestly, 2-3 years ago, I was hoping, before he went back to City, I was hoping actually Fenerbahce would get Gundogan because it seemed like a natural fit, kind of like Özil. When they're on the decline, they become Turkish and go back to Turkey. But like, yeah, I think we saw when he was a City at the end there that he is nowhere near the pace. Osman is, yes, he's at Galatasaray right now. Icardi is over there too. So like that kind of like they go back and forth kind of a deal. But I mean, they have like a decent squad, but I just hope my fear is we're going to go to freaking Istanbul. I hope we don't rotate that game. That's the one game that I don't want any rotation over there. That's a good point too. And I think that was like the weird part with Kirkes, by the way, talking about that, like somebody playing in the Premier League. I kind of expected him to be having a shorter adjustment period, but 3 games, like I say, at least this game, like he was back to where he was. Yes, they have Leroy Sané. They signed this dude from Monaco. Oh, God, his name escapes me. As a center back. So they're like a decent squad. I mean, in the Champions League, I don't think you're going to have a lot of teams that are going to be like weak squads or anything like that. And I'm looking at our matchups over there. Like PSV is probably one game that's your easiest. Oh, you have Karabakh here at the very, very last. See, that's a game I feel like such a great game to just, be able to rotate. Hopefully by then you're already guaranteed. I do expect to see a lot more rotation in the Champions League this year than we did before. Knowing winning everything doesn't help you out. You still get matched up with PSG. I think Travis, he will go out there and just make sure we qualify and not worry too much about winning every single game.
Absolutely. Well, if you look at that PSG match, and I know we're getting to the last couple of minutes, the PSG match, I think that was Slot's eye opener. That was him to decide, okay, I need a little more depth. I cannot have tired legs. I need people to work the system and the formation that I want. The PSG match, we should have won that match. I think if we're at 100%, we win that match without question, or at least be competitive. And Slot, that will come up to say, okay, we're going to get the people in, and then we have a historic transfer window, getting in some of the best or making them the biggest changes. It remains to be seen whether they're going to be some of the best players we've ever seen. I do think they are going to have an incredible impact, but without question, it's going to be one of the biggest pieces there. I'll comment on the Chiesa thing one more time, because I know we brought it up. We talked about it earlier, but here's the thing. I don't think the issue is with us. I think the issue is that if you're going to give us more Champions League games to play, let us have more than 25 people on our squad.
It's not a matter of number of people. It's not a matter of how many homegrown.
Well, homegrowns. Change the rules. Because we can only, but it's true.
Change the rules. We want to play Chiesa.
If you are going to but if you're going to tell teams they have to add another 4, 5, 6 games onto their incredibly packed schedule, but you're not going to give us more people to bring to play to those games, that's on UEFA. That's not on Liverpool. That's on UEFA.
I disagree to that, because I think if they do that, it's going to be even worse. All the big boys are going to hoard even more players, and it really waters down the competition. Because grow your own freaking guy then. You know what I mean? I think by doing that, I'm trying to slow down this highway to the Super League as much as possible. I think if you put in something like that, you're almost like speeding up. You're stepping on the gas pedal by having these guys stockpile even more people because they can. I think something like this kind of slows it down. It's going to happen eventually, people. I hate to be the old guy giving the bad news.
No. The Super League will never happen.
The Champions League will become Super League.
The Champions League is going to be what it is. They've tried the Super League. It is never going to happen. It has always been voted down. But no, and you could keep the homegrown players rule. I'm not opposed to the homegrown players rule.
What got voted down? But I mean, it got voted down to be a total thing. And then UEFA came in and said, why don't we make like a league? It's not super, but we just made a league. We're just playing more games. So pretty soon you're gonna have even more games. This is so exciting. Let's add another 2-4 games, and I think what's gonna happen is dude, I'm always Mr. Equality and Parity. I'm actually really trying to stop this highway to the I mean, like Mr. Barrett says, we are already Super League light. They're just not calling it Super. It's just a league of champions. So in 5 to 10 years, UEFA will slowly inject the Super League without using the word super. The biggest mistake of the Super League was how it was announced and presented, cold turkey. We're going cold turkey Super League. That's why it's kind of, whereas UEFA was like, how dare you guys? And then 3 weeks later, they're like, why don't we make like a league? And then slowly, they'll keep injecting it.
I know it's 8 o'clock, but I could not disagree with you more. I would love to continue this debate.
Well, next Thursday, this is the international break, so we'll talk all about this crap.
We are
I don't think it will be in
I need more coffee.
Keep chugging that coffee.
Oh man, I gotta finish my coffee.
I actually gotta go get new coffee. But hey, thanks a lot for everybody hopping in. That gives us something else to talk about next week. Enjoy the international break. I'll be back tomorrow morning. The boys are back tonight, so do tune in for that. 8 o'clock Central. The Bolt crew will be here. God knows what they'll talk about. I'm sure they'll rant and rave about the Gahey ordeal and blame FSG. But just go tune in just to make sure. And then I'll be back tomorrow with the Reckless crew. So do tune in then. But have a great Thursday, everybody. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Thanks so much, everyone.